Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday lunchtime, which means it's our skills broadcast. And welcome to any of you who might be watching. We're always pleased to see new people. If you watch and don't want to participate, absolutely fine with us. We just are delighted to have you on board. If you'd like to comment, please do, but please remember that the videos stay up on YouTube. So make sure whatever that you say, I'm likely to repeat it if I possibly can. And in which case, if it's something you don't want me to repeat, just make sure you write that at the end of it so I know not to repeat that particular thing. Hi there, Jody. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin, and she does incredible work all during the week to help me prepare, but also she is responsible for our Friday evening broadcast, which is our Friday Funnies, which we call Smile Time. And it's always interesting to see what she comes up with. And, you know, my greatest joy is when I am going through those Friday Funnies, my greatest joy is imagining how much fun Jody had finding them. You know, it's a really interesting reality. I just want to say that it's been a very interesting and exciting week for me. I'm just going to get up. We've had a new addition. Hi, Sandy. We've had a new addition to the DearMamaSal family, and as you might know, Benji and Judy gave birth to little baby Leah, and it's just on the 20th, right? And it's just, she'll be a week old tomorrow. Isn't that exciting? And she's had such a life already. But just so you know that it's been very exciting, but also sad in a lot of ways that obviously I can't jump in the car and go down and meet her and do all those sort of things. But that's, you know, that's life as it is at the moment. By the way, today, for those of you who are watching, we're going to be showing you how I made fruit roll-ups. And if you have a subject that you'd like to have me discuss or something that you'd like me to try, try is the operative word for a lot of these things, just let me know. I have great fun. I really must say I thoroughly enjoyed making the fruit roll-ups this week. A lot of trial and error, but that's what I wanted to do, is to make sure I had trial and error so I could talk to you what you can expect. By the way, don't forget to follow us here on the subscribe button, and also on the bell. Click on that and say you want the notifications, because then when we do an extra broadcast, you'll be aware of it. And they also will send you emails to let you know that there's a that there's a broadcast coming up. The other thing is that I'm DearMamaSal on all the obvious platforms with the exception of Instagram. And the reason for that is because when I went to go register Instagram, which was later than the rest of them because I didn't think I was going to use it, and of course I did, but by the time I did, somebody had stolen my name. Now, whether they thought I was going to pay them to not use it or whatever, I don't know, but they actually stole the name. So on Instagram, it is The Real DearMamaSal, all in one word. And that's the only one that's different. The rest of them, just put in DearMamaSal and you'll find me. As usual, I will be adding some comments on here. Thanks, Jody, for putting that up. I'll be adding some comments on here about things that have happened to me during the week, and most of all, my mistakes. I know you always enjoy those. And so remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're like an extended family. And if I have news about anybody, I'm inclined to put it up on Facebook, if I have permission, to put it up on Facebook and, you know, let you know what's going on within the family of DearMamaSal viewers. And that's really an important thing to me, to be able to do that. Before I get on to the demonstration, I wanted to just say, I've been listening a great deal and watching a great deal about the pandemic this week. And please be prepared and not scared for the numbers to maybe even tenfold where they are now. The reason being because they're doing a lot more testing. the more testing they do, the more cases will be confirmed. You see, we don't know how many people really have the virus at the moment, but the more they test, the more cases will get confirmed, and then we'll get the real numbers. When we get the real numbers, we'll know how to deal with it better. So it is scary, and I understand that, but be prepared to see those numbers. So when they escalate over the next few months, which they're going to, don't think it's a second wave. It's still the first one, right? We're just getting the true figures of it. And by the way, I want to just make a comment. It's possible that some of my viewers are waiting for a vaccine. I'll wait until the vaccine comes out and then I'll be fine. Well, I just want to just make sure that we work in reality here. In the 2002-2003 SARS outbreak, you remember that? It took 20 months for a viable vaccine to be created and tested and cleared. 20 months. So have that. And the other thing I wanted to give you a heads up on, think about HIV. We still don't have a vaccine for that. So some of these viruses, we have to find sort of ways around them rather than a vaccine to cure them. I also, actually, I'm going to put that for later because I want to talk about this a bit more, but I want to get on to the demonstration. Just hold on 1 second. I'll drop that lower down. Okay, and that can go down. I've got a couple of notes here that I wanted to talk to you about, but I want to get on and do this. Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera around here. Yeah. And what I want to show you is, let me just take this off quickly. This week I made these fruit roll-ups, and I used, on this one, I used strawberries and blackberries. And on these, I used orange and banana. So I thought I've got a few blackberries left. I've got some orange left, obviously, and I've got some banana. And by the way, what I'm using is a banana that's about to go a bit mushy. So what I'm looking at is that it's not a bad idea. So what have I got? I've got a nut bag, and I'll show you why. I've got a blender of some sort. Now, obviously, if you do a big amount of these, just, have a bigger blender. I've got a mason jar here because, actually it's an Atlas jar to be correct, to put some stuff in. I'm going to show you. We're going to need some lemon juice, but quite honestly, that's all that it takes. All right, I've got some comments here. Let me see. All right, so Kerry, how about we talk about that a bit later on if we can? I'll ask Jody to remind me. Can you just copy and paste that to me later? And totally understand, Kerry. All right, so here we go. All you do, and this is ridiculously simple, quite honestly. You just take, I have washed these. Oh, by the way, let me wash my hands quickly. This actually was way more simple than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I thought this would be difficult, but I did. But it wasn't, which surprised me. Now I have washed these, so I'm going to first of all put in half a banana, and then I'm going to put in some blueberries. And then what I'm going to do is put up some of that orange. Just so I can show you that really it is this simple. And peel the orange, the Sal way. Okay, so there we go, orange. Now, the only thing I've been adding to it is lemon juice. Now, lemon juice helps it keep the color. For example, this kept its orangey color. So I've got banana in there, and as you all know, banana can turn a nasty color. So, and also if you have apple or anything else like that. So literally all I did was this. By the way, I'm going to make a noise. How difficult was that? Okay, now then, you can, when I made it, the first one I made, I actually just used this exactly as it is. But what I found out on my second attempts was that if you actually take the major part of the liquid out, it works much quicker. So that's what I do, is I'm just going to pour it in there. And hold on 1 second. This is a trick, by the way, I learned from a professional chef. Which is if you rinse things as soon as you use them, it doesn't all stick on there. All right, so now I'm going to just lift it up a bit. Let it drip, as they say. I'm talking about drip. I've got allergies going on right now. There you go. So, now I need to wash my hands again. So what I found interesting was this. I took most of the liquid out. With a nut bag. Now, if you don't have a nut bag, a fine sieve will take a lot of the liquid out as well. But basically what you're doing is getting rid of most of the liquid, so that it takes less time to become a leather. Because what we're going to do is we're going to dehydrate it, which means take the liquid out of it. Okay, so once you've done that, what you do is you then put the remaining bit I'm just putting it in a jar right now because I'm not going to use it right at this moment, because I have got plenty of things to show you the stages of it so that you can see it. But you've got to agree that that's pretty easy. Now, the bag I just rinsed out immediately, and I turned it inside out, which is where most of the bits were, and I put it in the dishwasher. Just so you know. I'm just going to take the worst of it off right now while it's still soft. And then I will put it in the water again. But as you can see, you can rinse off most of the bits immediately. But I did put mine, I do like to put mine through the dishwasher just so that I know that it's sanitary. Okay, a little soap. And clean up some of the mess. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, what are you going to do with the liquid? Well, I keep the liquid, and I put it in when I'm making drinks for myself, I put it in there. So I'm going to put that in the fridge. Put that in the fridge, it'll take up way too much room. Ooh. So we're just going to put that in there. And I'm just going to put the lid on this because this is what you would use. And I'm going to show you what to do next. Let me just put these in the fridge. So, surprise, surprise, because you've kept the juice and are going to use it in smoothies and things, you know, you're not really wasting anything. All right, so we've now cut up the fruit, we've blended it, and we've got the mixture. Now, the first test I did, this is quite funny. The first test I did it on foil, aluminum foil. Do not recommend this. It doesn't work. Okay, but that's how you learn things. It sticks to the aluminum. You can't get it off. If I'd read the instructions properly, I probably would have found that out. The second test I did surprised me. This was on a barbecue mat. And as you can see, these turned out beautifully. Little thin, so they're a little fragile, but it's great. So that was that. Now then, the third test I did was on can't remember what it was, but what I wanted to show you is that I cooked this instead of dehydrated it. Now, the reason I say that is because it is almost brittle. So the trick is to dehydrate it, not to cook it. Does that make sense? So whatever temperature I had this on, it was a little too high. However, I also want to tell you, if you end up doing this, the way to get it back into being a leather is to just put it, leave it in a cooking container of some sort, and then just put a wet paper towel in the, I do mine in my toaster oven, but just put a wet paper towel in there, not on top of it, on a completely different place, on a different, with an oven-proof type container. And just leave it. Don't even turn the heat on or anything. Just leave it. The moisture from the paper towel will turn this back into a leather. So I'm told. I'll be doing that experiment. The one that worked the best for me was a silicone mat. And I've got to say that. This looks like it's a total mess, but that's because I've been pulling... I was pulling off these and making them. But literally, it's amazing when you think you've got everything you need. You haven't. But literally, there we go. It just pulls straight off, right? Now, the trick is you cut off the burny bits. The burny bits are from where it's too thin. You will know if you've cut it too thin because it will burn a little bit. So what they say is just cut those bits off. I personally will eat them. And I found the easiest way to cut them is actually to hold your knife down and sort of peel against it, if you like. That's so good. This one was banana and orange. So, and literally then you just roll it up. Now, if you've got children, or if you're auntie to children, I want to tell you a great thing to do with children. Oh, definitely should not be eating that, but oh, it's so good. It's a great thing to do with children. Doesn't require any hot ovens or anything. And what a great way to get children to eat fruit. So that was the base instruction. Do I have any questions? I've got to put these away because you know I'm going to eat them. Hang on 1 second. I just need to put these away. If I don't put them away, I will eat them. I did have some information for you about storage, just while I'm waiting for questions, if anybody's got them. Apparently, you can leave them in an airtight container in the fridge for about a week. But you can keep them in the freezer for up to a year, I think. So it'd be a great thing to do, you know, once a week or once a month or whenever, and just put them in a container and freeze them. How long did I take to dehydrate them? All right, this was on phase 2, Jody. You know, that's why I did the experiments. Let me just put the fruit away, honey. Just hold on 1 second, please. It's, you know, summer here, and I'm going to have fruit flies everywhere if I don't put the pretty stuff away. Let me think. I would say probably 6 to 8 hours is what I think it took the last time. The trick is, as I said, don't cook them, dehydrate them. That means you'd almost do better putting them in the car, you know what I mean, and letting them cook in the car than putting them in an oven. But if you're going to put them on the oven, the very lowest setting, my lowest setting is about 150, which is probably, yeah, my car is probably hotter than that at the moment. But you understand what I'm saying? The lower the temperature, the better the result. And I did try to top it up to about 200, and that's when I got the Bernie stuff. Now, what I'm going to do this coming week is actually try some experiments where I add vegetables. In other words, I'm going to cook some vegetables and then add the fruit mixture to the vegetables to make fruit and vegetable roll-ups. Because I think, again, a great way to get, you know, fruit and vegetables into your diet without the bulk of it. Now, the thing I was thinking about for some of you who may be going back to work and so forth, and, you know, it takes a lot of room to pack up in your, you know, sort of your meal prepping, to pack up fruits and vegetables, and they don't last very long. But, you know, if you've got it in the roll-ups, they will last all week. And that's why I was thinking for a lot of people, it's going to save a lot of space. By the way, how much space I've got, how many in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've still got plenty of room for 7, 8, 9, 10. I could fit 20 in this little container, which would be more than enough for the week. And, you know, that in my fridge, imagine 20 of these would be, you know, an awful lot of fruit. And that's what I'm thinking about, how, you know, we're talking about using up fruit that is probably not going to last too many more days. You know what I mean? Where you're going, nah, it's not going to last too much longer. Do you throw it away or do you turn it into a leather? And my recommendation is, why don't you just save your money and turn it into a leather and extend the life of it and have a really nice treat. By the way, how do they taste? Way better than I thought they would. I've got to say that. Way better than I thought they would. That banana orange one is really good. The other thing is, I was thinking that would be really good to have maybe put in some ginger or some excuse me. I did take an allergy thing, but it hasn't kicked in yet. What else can we add, people? You guys are creative. But, the reason I thought it really good idea to talk about it now is because fruit hopefully will be becoming plentiful over the summer for those of us who are in the Northern Hemisphere. And sorry, I had a panic moment, like, where's my coffee? You know me. And so, maybe strawberry kiwi would be awesome. Yeah, I'm going to try some of that. That's a good idea. I can imagine that, for example, for those of you who like rhubarb, strawberry rhubarb ones would be really good. I'm going to try some apple, cinnamon, banana, I think, or something like that. And just try some variations. And then what I will do is I'll give you some feedback on it next week. So simple. It was surprisingly simple. That's the thing that really got me was, can it be this easy? But like everything else in life, everything's easy to do once you know how to do it. Quite honestly, if you don't have a blender, you could use one of those baby mill things, where you scrunch up food for babies. But don't use aluminum. Definitely use, I would think it would probably do better in almost a plain plastic than using, definitely don't use aluminum. Total waste of effort. You can imagine how delighted I was. The other thing is, could you please remember that like everything else in life, practice is a good thing. So I found, that I didn't have to practice very much to get a fruit roll-up. And I was so excited. I went, oh, that's amazing. Well, I consume that. And then I went, no, hang on. I need to have ones I can show people. And so, but I'm actually a little stunned that it was so simple. And I kept thinking, it's a really good thing to put in children's lunchboxes and things. Hi, Jan. Good to see you. By the way, Jan, it is really good to see you, and thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. For those of you who don't know, there's a little money sign at the bottom here, and you can click on there, and then it's got a little bar at the bottom, and you can actually put how much money you want to donate. So it's from small amount right the way up. It allows you to decide how much you're going to donate. So thank you very much, Jen. I appreciate that. It all helps, especially now that I'm retired. Right. So any more questions before I move on? And my main question was, have any of you tried it? And if so, is there anything you'd like to add? It's just like, yeah, why didn't I try this years ago? And the question I had to myself was, it is one of those things where I'd seen it, thought, oh, that's interesting, never tried it. And I thought, well, if it's easy enough for me, then it must be easy enough for my viewers. That the way I look at it is this, that I'm not interested in what I call the perfect way. Some of you will do all the research and find incredibly interesting ways of doing it. What I wanted to make sure you all knew is that you could do this easily if you wanted to, all right? Anybody can do it. And I was thinking about, some people are living in countries where they could literally just put it outside with netting over the top of it so that the bugs don't get to it. But, you could actually just dry it outside in the shade, if you're in the high sun. Put it in the shade with, one of those cake nets over the top of it, and it would probably do just as well. So let me go back now and see what Kerry had to say before I move on. Just hold on. All right, so Kerry's saying, I could use some positive prayers and vibes from my mom. She's going to have eye surgery on July the 16th, and I'm sure Jodie's made a note of that, to clear blood pooling around one of her corneas. Wow. And, you know, I'm certain that feels very scary. For you. But, you know, the way that I look at it is if they're prepared to wait until July, mid-July, then it probably isn't, they don't consider it to be, they consider it to be urgent but not critical. And so that's a good thing. So thoughts and prayers going up there, and just take it easy. I'm sorry to hear that she's got it. I don't know if you saw it where it's not her first cornea surgery. Okay, so she has history. So she knows what to expect. Okay. So what causes the blood to pool after a cornea surgery? Or is this before the surgery? Wow, Jamie's saying that tomorrow she's reopening the spa. That's amazing. With lots of safety precautions, I'm sure, yeah. Now, I do have a question for you, and I've got a number of bits for the broadcast today. My question of the week is actually a possibly, I want to say possibly racist one, but it's not that I mean to be racist. I literally want to know. Excuse me. There was a big uproar this week about President Trump saying the Kung flu, which I thought was just a play on words. And then there was this huge uproar about the fact it was a racist statement and everything. And I'm hoping some of my Asian viewers will be able to, or some of you that know more than I do, can tell me why that was a racist slur. I'm thinking if we can have a Kung Fu panda, why was that not racist, but the Kung flu was? Anyway, I just didn't quite get it, but if any of you did, please let me know. All right, so Kerry's saying, I'm not scared. They do the surgery sooner, but they need to consent from her doctor to do the anesthetic. Okay, fine. Totally understand. So anyway, if anybody has got any input on that, please let me know. I've got a couple of tips for you this week that I wanted to talk about. And this is all under reuse, recycle, whatever. I keep strange lids of things. This would be the top of something. And I use these. For example, if I've got an air freshener, which, you know, I refill all mine. And if you want to know how I do that, you know, and I will do a video on that. But, you know, I will refill an air freshener in such a way. And if I have any fear that maybe the liquid will drop onto paintwork or something, I will just put a plastic lid underneath it. So really good use for one of these. Be a really good thing to make a leather in, now that I think about it. That would be quite a nice little container. Oh, I know what else I use to make the leathers. Jody, and those of you who do a lot of baking, have you got any of, I make my bread in these. Hang on a second. You know, I make myself a bread roll that's sliced obviously, but I make a bread roll in one of these every couple of days. And that's the bread I'm allowed to eat. But I made the leathers in here. And this worked really well. I just want to tell you that just while I think about it. I'd forgotten that I'd used that. All right, so keeping lids. Now this is this is a container that obviously I had meat in. Now obviously I put it through the dishwasher. But I have found these sort of containers are really useful on a shelf or in a lower cupboard or something, because this is another one, because we demonstrate this rather than talk about it. A picture's worth 1,000 words here. Oh, and this happens to be the top of the shoebox. But you know, the thing is, especially as you're getting older, you can load it up with stuff, okay, in a drawer. But if you want to get to the stuff at the back, you just pull this out. And I want to tell you that it sounds so pathetic in some ways, but boy, am I grateful for it. Plus, I found that it keeps the shelves a lot cleaner. Let me see what the... Okay, so Jody's saying, I'm wondering if it's considered insensitive because of the subject matter, the pandemic. Yeah, I don't think that's what it was. So many suffering, the insensitivity of calling it the Kong flu. Okay, well, that's sort of what I worked out as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out making the fruit rolls of this. I'm going to, when I do the video of this, I'm going to cut this section out because I don't want to have to say that I'm discussing, controversial subjects in it. But, you know, to me, it's just like, it was an interesting one that I wanted to talk about. There's another one I want to talk about as well. But before I do, so you all understand this thing about the lids. Works really well. And what, as I said, the big thing is I found that my shelves staying a lot cleaner because I've got, I can just literally take out one of these and clean this up and then put this back and the shelf is still clean. So that's just a thought that I wanted to share with you. Now, the other thought I wanted to share with you is how many of you get really fed up with lipsticks where you can't see what color is? I don't know about you, but that drives me insane. So I just got a picture of this. I want to show you what I do with mine. I wonder if I can just show you this here. You can probably see the colors on my lipsticks there. I don't know if that's showing up well. But what I wanted to show you was I just literally take the top off it, go like this, and I put the lipstick on the top. Now I know what color it is. How many of you going, why didn't I think of that? So it really is the simplest answer. And it's a bit difficult on the black, but you know, it does. So now you can actually see what every single lipstick color is. And it saves a lot of time and frustration on my part anyway. Any questions? And if so, just let me have them. I found the whole issue. How many of you got a little bit bent out of shape when you heard about the NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace, finding a noose in his garage that he was allocated for his car at NASCAR? You know, it was really interesting because I was horrified, and then I went on a roller coaster because then I heard the FBI said it wasn't a hate crime, and I must admit that the moment I heard that, I went, I'm missing information here. You know, I'm missing information. Therefore, I need to find out more about this. And so here's the truth of it. The truth of it is that particular garage door pull, that's what it was, that was made into a noose, was not about Bubba at all. It had been there since 2019. And the interesting thing is that when you hear that, you go, oh, so it wasn't there for Bubba at all. Somebody had just made a door pull and they decided a noose was a perfect door pull. not nice, but it changes the whole narrative, doesn't it? That it had been there, and it was just by chance that that was the particular garage that Baba happened to be allocated. So that changes the narrative as well. And what I liked about it is, like all bad things, sometimes good comes out of it. I think the picture of all the drivers walking Baba Wallace to the front of the grid, the way that they did, in total solidarity for him, was an image that I will remember for, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. It was one of the most iconic pictures I have ever seen, and especially in NASCAR. And so I went, wow, that is really an amazing visual to see. And then to have Petty come up and you know, talk to him. He was just so overcome, but it was just like, I think it was an important moment all around. So remember, sometimes out of these bad things, good things happen. And the fact that it wasn't an intent was the most important thing, that it had been there for over a year, or I believe about a year. Obviously, my joy of the week was the arrival of a baby Leah. It was so difficult because I obviously was advised as soon as baby Leah arrived. I must admit, Benji has been so good at keeping me informed all along the way. And I thought it was so wonderful because even Benji's dad sent me pictures the next day, and it was so cute because, hi Jenny, because, you know, it was so funny how when I got the pictures, I thought, isn't that kind that even he thought to send me pictures? And you know, I'd already got the pictures, of course, but, you know, it was just to be included in the family gives me, to that level all the time, gives me so much joy. And then, as some of you may know, Judy ended up having to take baby Leah back. I'm hoping that's public knowledge now. Anyway, so, but, you know, I was busy texting with Judy. And it was just, I don't know, it was, you know, I can't go down there. So, you know, I'm doing the best I can. But they all understand and they all know. So it's really important. But what I did want to talk about was the roller coaster. And I thought you could all relate to it. You know, when you hear that Judy was in hospital and you could see the pictures of her in hospital waiting to give birth, you know, it's so exciting, right? And I think everybody was excited. And then I got that text from Benji, which told me that they rushed her into OR. And, you know, I'm sitting here in another country and there's nothing I can do except to tell Benji to have faith and to find out why they'd rushed her to OR. The whole roller coaster of emotion was important. And what I did was I very quickly said to myself, you have no control over what is happening in the OR. You are not helping Judy by panicking. Your job is to help Benji and the girls, if you can. So, you know, this is, you understand, get out of the emotion, deal in the facts, right? Judy's in the OR. Can I do anything about that? No. Now I have to have faith in the doctors. Benji is busy holding baby Leah, probably, you know, and being excited. And at the same time, his wife has just been rushed to OR. Can you imagine what that was like for him? And I thought, well, I know Benji well enough to know that he's an octopus. You know, he can do 65 things at the same time. So I texted him and said, okay, talk to me. You know, talk to me because do you need me to tell anybody? What can I do to help you, honey? How can I support you right now? You know, that famous question. And he said to me, thanks, Mom. He said, I'm fine. you know, I'm obviously concerned, but I'm fine. And I went, okay, fine, but I'm here. And I will stay awake until I hear that she's out of OR. So what I wanted to explain to you again is that process, all right? You can have that moment of panic, but then it's just like, there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm not helping anybody by panicking. What can I do? Remember, always go back to what can I do? I can be the rock for Benji if that's what he needs, because Benji is the rock for everybody else. Right, so Jeannie's saying they handed the baby to him and left. Yes, exactly. So you understand that must have been terrifying for him. So, hi, Kimmy. And so to me, it was a good demonstration of how to get out of that hamster wheel of panic and just go, okay, fine, what can I do? And then when I heard she had to be rushed back to hospital, same thing. Think about that, right? First of all, I got the text from Judy this time, which is, you know, surprised me. But Judy texted me to say, Sal, just, or Mama Sal, just to let you know, I'm at the hospital with Leah, and this is why. And I thanked her so much, again, with tears in my eyes, but I thanked her so much for letting me know, because I did care, and again, I sort of double checked to make sure, was she okay? I wanted to know, I understood what the situation was with Leah, but was Judy okay health-wise, or was she also in a hospital bed, you know, whatever? Because she's just gone through, you know, giving birth and being rushed to OR herself. So huge emotional stuff for them and scary stuff. So she told me, no, she was fine, no problem. It was just a Leah thing. And so once I discovered that she was fine, and I made her laugh, of course, because I can do that. Then the way I made her laugh was, I said, you know, I just said to her, you have to understand, when I was born, I was less than I think I was 2 pounds when I was born. I said, and I got serious jaundice and a whole lot of other things. And I was in ICU for 3 months. I mean, really, 3 months in ICU. And, or so I was told. I was in hospital, maybe not 3 months in ICU, but I was in hospital for 3 months, my first 3 months of my life. And so to me, this is like, okay, fine. And I said, you know, Judy, and I wasn't meant to live. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but my father had to make a decision between, my mom went into coma. Do they save my mom, or do they save me? And he made the decision to save my mom. But I came out screaming anyway. You know me. And yeah, sure, I was only 2 pounds, and I was all the things that babies can possibly do when they get born. I got it, you know. And I ended up, you know, and here I am, 72, and I'm still loud and noisy, and you know, I'm very grateful. So I said to Judy, you know, if they could deal with that situation 72 years ago, you know, nearly 73 now, think about it. You know, she's going to be just fine. And, you know, they know what to do. Because if they sorted me out, they can surely sort her out. But I made her laugh, and then I thought, what else can I do? I can support Benji. You know, and so that's what I want you to say. I'm constantly saying, yes, that was scary for a split second. Nothing I can do about it. Can I help Judy? Yes, I can give her some information and make her smile. Can I help Benji? Yes, I can tell him I'm here for him. If he needs me to entertain the kids for a little while, you know, just to let me know. Yes, and Jeannie's saying, you know, jaundice is a fairly common condition. Hospitals help babies all the time. Yes, exactly. And as I said, I was in a really bad way. And if they could sort me out, they can sort anybody out. Jody's saying, no, I didn't know that about you, Sal, but I'm not surprised you're a survivor. You know, the funny thing was, even after my parents said after 3 months, you know, can we bring her home yet? And they said, yes. on the condition she has full 24-hour-a-day nursing, professional nursing, if you want to take her home. I'm not 100% sure. A 2-pound little fighter who now helps so many people. Sam, but and hi, Sam. But it's like, you never know, all right? I obviously, I obviously really wanted to survive. And by the way, I was drunk by the age of 4. I mean, fall down the stairs drunk by the age of 4. And the reason for that is that my parents had a big cocktail party, and they all went out into the garden. They all went out in the garden, and it was summer or something to and they left a whole lot of drink in the living room. And I, being the curious person I've always been, I went down there and thought, oh, that's interesting. They've got pop, or whatever my little 4-year-old mind thought. And I emptied what was left in the bottom of the glasses. And the next thing I knew, I was full downstairs drunk. Explains a whole lot of stuff, I'm sure. It took them a while to work out what was wrong with me. So, do you all understand it's okay to have that moment of anger or that moment of panic or that moment of fear or whatever it is, and then immediately say, that's not helping me. The fear, the panic is not helping me. What can I do? What do I have control over? And then work on that. Because 2 things happen. When you get out of that fear and into the control of what you can control, you feel empowered again. You probably can imagine that being able to make Judy laugh at that time was the greatest gift for me, to be able to make her laugh, and it was just like, I could tell she was laughing. And then, to be able to just to make sure that Benji was okay. All these things are things that I can do. By the way, I didn't need either of them to reply to me. I just needed to send a text to let them know that I cared and that I was there, and I was there if they need me. And the funny thing was, when Judy texted me that she was home, she said to me, I cannot thank you enough for the support while I was in hospital. And I thought I did so little, but apparently it meant a lot. Now, I made a couple of big mistakes this week. And I wonder if any of you did. The first one was that I actually sent a big box of Pampers to baby Leah at the beginning of the month, because I was pretty, we knew that she was going to be born in sort of mid-June. Anyway, so I sent this mega box of newborn Pampers to them, and I couldn't understand why it hadn't arrived. And then I found out that it had been delivered, and I thought, that's weird, but I don't recognize that door, because they show a picture of the parcel outside the door. I found out I had the wrong address, their old address. For some reason, I had picked up their old address and put it in instead of copying and pasting the one they've been in for the last 7 years. So whoever lives in the apartment where Benji and Judy used to live, they suddenly got a box of Pampers on their doorstep. Now, I haven't quite found out whether it got returned or what happened. I'll be looking into that this week. Hi, Becca, good to see you. But total mistake, right? And I just wrote back to Judy and I said, this would explain why you didn't see it. It went to your house of 7 years ago. Now, do I want to spend all that money if they don't if it wasn't returned? Do I want to spend all that money again? Maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to see about that. But anyway, it was interesting. Wow. Becca's saying, I must confess I had no idea Judy was pregnant again. No, that's okay. That's not your job, all right? But yes, she's not pregnant again because she's now given birth. Jeannie's saying people of all ages care. Today we went for ice cream at a place we have not been to in years. I happened to mention the fire and discovered 2 ice cream servers had been in Gorham and saw her house burn. Wow, that is amazing and frightening for them as well. And then for them to actually meet the person who was in the house. Wow. All right, now I'm waiting to see if any of you made any mistakes because here's another one. I often think I should put these mistakes into the Friday Funnies. I want you to have this visual of Sal eating. I don't know about you, but one of my treats is to eat chow mein noodles, dry chow mein noodles at night. And so I had opened a big bag and was eating them. And then something happened and I moved incorrectly and the whole bag fell onto the floor. Now I know what you think. It did not fall on its side. It did not fall standing upright. It fell chow mein noodles down. So that meant that trying to pick it up, I knew I was going to lose a whole lot of noodles. And I did. And I just was laughing my head off and I'm going, okay, so you don't want me to eat as many chow mein noodles. I could see the humor in it. Sam is saying my mistake this week was with hair color. Oh, we've all been there, right? Salons are not open here. I color my own hair anyway. Dark brown henna. Oh, that's such a great color. I couldn't get the dark brown anywhere, but they had the copper, and I thought, I'm sorry to laugh, Sam. Yeah, I did it, I can remember in my 20s using a little bit of gentian violet in my blonde hair as it was then, really gave it some sparkle. And then I did the little old lady blue hair thing by accident. And you can't get that stuff out. You've got to wash it so many times to get that gentian violet out. But I remember doing that. All right, so Sam's saying, but it's better than an inch of gray strip around my head. Boy, I was wrong. I'm now visible from space. Yeah, we definitely need to do the mistakes one on a Friday night. I'm changing it. That's a good one, Sam. I mean, you'll forgive us if we laugh, but really. Now the other thing I did, it's been quite a week, and today when I was getting ready to broadcast, I was busy making coffee, and I don't know, I sort of looked at the cup and I went, that looks really weak. And I thought, well, it's weak because there isn't any coffee and it's just hot water. And I remember Beth doing that once, where you make a cup of coffee of hot water instead of putting the coffee pod in. So what I did was I dipped that out and I grabbed a coffee pod and put it in. And then made another cup of coffee. And guess what? It looked just as bad. And I'm going, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, WTF, and I'm going, what happened? And then I realized I put in an empty pod the second time. Put a pod in, but, without any coffee in it. It took me 3 times to get coffee. Yeah. What can I say? So, did anybody else have any achievements of the week? Anybody can have an achievement? I want to tell you, without a doubt, learning how to make the fruit roll-ups was a big achievement. Jody is suggesting that Sam wash her hair repeatedly to help fade the color. I would also think that there's probably something you can wash your hair in, like an ash color, that will tone down the copper. I'm certain Mr. Google will have an answer to that. You know, you probably, I'm thinking it's going to be something really simple, like wash your hair in, egg and something. I don't know what that is. Becca's saying, today I scheduled with my mechanic to get my window thing a magic repaste, which allows the window to go up and down. Are we talking car window? Helps if your car window goes up and down. All right, Jeannie's saying, my achievement of the week, I find a nice place to stay until our home has been rebuilt. They have to check us out first and let us know. They go, okay, that's good. I'm pleased to hear that, Jeannie. Having a new base is going to be great for all of you. So, oh, it's the window mechanism. Thank you very much, Jody. Yep, that makes sense. Okay. So thanks for your help there, Jody. Now it makes more sense to me. I do try and read them, but yeah, that one I couldn't make sense of. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure that we can, I'm trying to think what it would be. Jan walked outside for the first time in 5 months. Now that is an achievement. Jan, how did that feel? Oh, so it was that apartment that you were looking at, Jean. Jeannie, that's good. So Jeannie's saying she's got 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it's on the first floor. Awesome. So that'll be good for Misty, and you guys will. Now, I always get confused about, is first floor ground floor, or is it the first floor after the ground? Just so that I've got that picture. And the reason I say that is because I've noticed some people call ground level the first floor. And so, so first floor as in ground level. Yep, okay. That is ideal if you've got a woofie, which you do. Jody's saying, my achievement was that Lion and I found transport to my pain management every month. And that'll be more effective than the van we've been using. Yay, way to go. Sam also gets confused by that first floor or ground floor thing. It's called the window regulator, Becca. I didn't know that. I would say the window mechanism. Yeah. So thank you. Jan is saying, incredible. I had a major spinal surgery and then pulmonary embolism after surgery. Wow. It felt wonderful to walk. Yes. Be grateful for those moments, right? And Bernice is saying, my achievement is that I'm slowly clearing out my living room, dining room, kitchen, bedroom, and hallway. I saw the pictures of that, Bernice. And, you know, when I know what it looked like when you started, and I can see. I thought I should actually put up a picture for you of my craft room now, Bernice, so you can see that I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting there. I'm almost there, and I needed to clean up the craft room because I've got a freezer arriving next month, and I need to put it in that room. Bernice is saying it helps that all of it is so connected because everything is so mixed up. Yeah, I agree. Kimmy is doing that and selling stuff. All right, so that is awesome. And are people buying it? That's the question. I've often thought that I've got a storage shed full of stuff I could probably sell. Jeannie's saying, I held my temper when the UPS delivered my package to my burned down home. Yeah, you see, that's an achievement, isn't it, Jeannie? Like, how stupid can anybody be? You know, it's funny because that reminds me of something that happened to me, Jeannie, where somebody delivered a package to my home, and the proof of delivery was a signature that wasn't mine. And luckily, I got the parcel. But I wrote to them and I said, you know, watch out for this driver. His proof of delivery is his own signature. I did not sign that. Wow. And what was delivered to Jeannie's house was 100 pieces of cookie dough. Yeah, outside in the summer. Yeah, nice. Bernice is saying, we just gave our stuff to donate to the Goodwill. That's good. And they were spraying all the stuff, right? Yeah, which they would have to. All right, so Kimmy's saying she's doing it through Poshmark and most of it is new. Yeah. By the way, if any of you, I just wanted to explain, Kimmy, I saw that you put that up on one of the DearMamaSal chat rooms that we have. And I let it stay for a day, but then I took it down. You know, if you're going to do that, I really appreciate it. If you would ask me. I don't really allow people to advertise on the DearMamaSal sites. I may choose to let people know that you're doing stuff, but to actually use my site as your advertising, that's not cool, honey. So just in case you're wondering why I took it down. Oh, okay. So Jeannie's saying, luckily, there's cookie dough stuff had dry ice in it, so it was fine. Yeah. So I think, you know, we're all going to find. No, you didn't ask that I'm aware of. And if you can find proof that you did ask, I apologize. But as far as I know, I did not hear because I wouldn't have agreed to it, quite honestly. Because a lot of people ask me, and it's like, you know, I will help advertise for a cause or sort of thing. But, you know, anyway, long story short, so I took it down. Thank you. I appreciate the apology. And so what I found, though, is that we all have achievements every week if we care to think about it, right? And so now what I've got to ask you is, if we know that you all achieved something, but you have to dig a bit to find it, I just want to get, how about procrastination? Did any of you overcome procrastination? I did. I actually did go to the bank and invest an amount of money, which, you know, I've been waiting to do. I've still got more to invest, but the first lot I have now invested. Okay, Bernice is saying, I wonder why UPS would leave a food with no one there, but I wouldn't put it past them. UPS probably didn't know what was in the box, to be fair to UPS. Always see both sides, all right? If you've got a sealed box, they don't necessarily read what's in the box, right? They don't know. It's a box. They're delivering a box. And they're on a time schedule. Get that box delivered, done. But I quite agree. To leave a box delivered at a burnt-out house is beyond stupid. It was one of those things, that you got to. I would love to have that picture and put it up on it would go viral. Deliveries that shouldn't happen, Jeannie. You think some workmen signed for it? Okay, so yeah, they did get a delivery then. All right, did anybody procrastinate this week? So I did get over that procrastination. Plus, what else? There was something else on my list that I got checked off this week. So I was quite proud of myself. All right, Bernice is saying, I did a bit. I'd been procrastinating for a while, my bedroom and folding clothes, as well as vacuuming. So, Bernice, tell us, how did you overcome the procrastination? What did it take in your head for you to change procrastination into action? What I just, while I'm waiting for Bernice to answer that, I found it interesting with the investing thing. You will remember I spent some time asking myself, why am I procrastinating about investing the money? And the answer was my fear of what the markets are going to do. I don't know what's going to happen with the markets. And then I decided, because that's what I do, I will pray for some guidance. Right? So I don't know what to do right now, so let me pray for some guidance. And it was really funny because within 48 hours, somebody phoned me and asked if there was any way I could help them top up their money to get a deposit for a house. And I smiled and I went, that would be an investment. So I said, are we talking about just give you the money, or are we talking about a loan repaid with interest? I just need to know what it is. Anyway, so I ended up getting a better rate than I would in anything that the bank was offering me. So yeah, you understand, sometimes you just got to pray for some inspiration. So that's the first amount of money, and I'm thinking I should do that a couple of times. All right, so Bernice is saying, I didn't overcome vacuuming and the folding clothes, but I did solve the bedroom because I needed to do it to put away the stuff in the living room and hallway. Yes. So it's called one step at a time, Bernice, right? How many times have you heard me say that? And quite often the overwhelm is there because of this little bit. If I don't tidy up the bedroom, I can't do the next 3 steps. And so that's what you need to concentrate on. Well done. Jody is saying, my living room looks like a tornado went through it. I haven't conquered it yet, but I just haven't had the energy to tackle it. I'll start an hour at a time starting tomorrow. I would not even make you do an hour at a time, Jody, quite honestly. I would have you look right now, which part of your living room upsets you the most? Okay, bye, Jeannie. Good to see you. Yeah, see, Bernice has learned the story, which is don't go for an hour, go for 5 minutes. So what I would do is I would just have a look around the room and say, something like I look around my dining room table is my area again next week. And the reason my dining room table gets, Jody's saying her sewing supplies are all over the place. Oh, Jody, I've got to show you. I got the greatest thing this week and I thought of you. Do you want to hold on 1 second so I can show you? Hold on. Now I just need to angle the camera. Jody, I found this. Oops. And as you can see, I've got all my paints in it at the moment. But it rolls. And I was thinking that would be really good for Jody to have next to her chair. Anyway, I just thought I'd show it to you. I've got a second one that I have put the lettuces in by the front window. So, yeah, it was from Wish, Bernice. And I want to tell you, I was really amazed how much it holds. Hang on a second. It was one of those things where I thought, I'm sure I'll find a use for it. I just want to show you guys. I might still use the second one for my art stuff, but in the meantime, what I found was it's getting too hot for my, you can see. It's getting too hot for my lettuce in my greenhouse window here. So what I'm doing is I'm starting sort of, this last week's lettuce is now regrowing there. How much was it? Can't remember. Maybe $10 each, I think. I could find out, but I'll look later. And how long did it take to come? Forever. But I get things from Wish that are what I call my treats. All right, they're my Christmas presents to myself. So I don't mind waiting. To me, I just get them because I go, I'd like that. And I don't mind waiting 2 months to get it. So, yeah. So to me, it's like really important that you understand. The same thing is anything I buy from there. I think some of you know I buy all my testing stuff for my diabetes from Wish because it cost me $25 instead of $200, which it will cost me in Canada. I just order 2 months ahead all the time. For example, I've just got a batch now, which means I will reorder. So by the time this lot is used, the next lot will have arrived already. They have testing supplies for diabetes? Absolutely. I want to tell you that that these, if I buy them here in Canada, okay, these cost me like $80 if I buy them in Canada. These, the pokey sticks, the lancets, cost me $25 if I buy them from Wish. So to me, what I do is I already know how to test myself, right? And by the way, the first time I also bought the machine, and it came with a whole set. So I wouldn't buy I wouldn't buy medicines or stuff like that from Wish, but if it's just testing, and by the way, I had the testing thing calibrated at my, when I do my A1C test, I also have them test that my machine agrees with that thing. Oh, Becca's going, haha, the pokey sticks. Yeah, I don't know why that sounds funny. Yvonne always called them that. and so I will continue to call them the pokey sticks. Right? It's okay. If you are somebody who tests their blood glucose, you know what a pokey stick is. I am sure. So my attitude is, why would I pay $80 when I'm on a limited budget now, and when I only need to pay $25? Yeah, I call them Lancet as well when I'm being intelligent. I don't like like the name Lancets either. Isn't that funny, Joe? I don't know why. To me, it sounds like a knight in armor with a lance, and it's just like, but Pokey Stick is a lot calmer and gentle. I'm not going to be knocked off my horse with it. Pokey Stick, yeah. So, to me, this is all about how to save money. And as I said, I'm careful about what I buy from Wish, but I do buy stuff that I think, is a good deal. Now, let me tell you that the other thing I do is if I see something advertised anywhere and I look at it and I go, I'd really like that. What I will do is I'll go, I can't afford that. And I go, maybe I can if I go to Wish. And I've found a number of things. By the way, I got an ion cleaner. This is what this is. Okay. I have two of them. I have a CPAP machine. And, to buy the machine to ionically clean your mask, it costs over $300. But I just bought the ion cleaner from Wish, and it cost me under $100. And it's like, yeah. And by the way, I have two now, one for my machine, and this one I use all over the place. I use this if I've got runners that are less than pristine or whatever. I'll just throw it in a plastic bag with my ion machine. If I've used my nail clippers, I will throw it in the bag with my ion machine. Does that make sense? Anything that needs disinfecting, I will. Ozone. Is it ozone that it produces? O3. What's O3? Ozone, right? But, I use it all the time for all sorts of things. And anywhere, I'll use it if there's a cupboard that's, I don't like the smell of particularly for some reason. All right, Sandy is saying, it's good to hear that you check its calibration. That means you can trust it. I was going to mention that one of the best monitors out right now is the Contour Next one. Yeah, that's what I've got. I've got that one. I don't use it. I only use it in emergencies. Yeah. So I look at it and go, I bought myself an ozone cleaner for my CPAC machine. And Jody, I don't know if I showed you the new one I got and why I like it. I should show you that because other people might know people. Hang on. So Jody, this next one, I thought you would like that cart, Jody. That's why I wanted to show you. This is the second ion machine that I bought where it literally fits into the hose and then you put the mask in the bag and then turn this on. There we go, that's turned on. Now, I leave it, you can just plug it in, leave it plugged into your CPAC machine, for those of you who know what that is. And I'm just going to put it in here. You can have a second clean. And, no, do not drop your earphone in there, so. I'm definitely going to have to get earpods that have got strings on them. Hang on a second. Okay, and then Jody, turn it on and then just seal the bag. But normally the line is coming out and it's attached to the machine, but it automatically turns itself off after half an hour. But I really want to tell you, I clean my machine every day. Very easy. All right, so like I was saying, I've been wanting to go to the container store for some time. I think the closest one for me is about an hour away. Oh, I would go mad in there. I'm sure they'd have lots of options for carts and things. Yes, I'm sure. I cannot go. You see, I'm like Jody. I cannot go. What I do is, what I love about Wish is I literally will sit and look at Wish and add things to my wish list. All right. Or I will add it to my buy list. And on the first of each month, I allow myself a budget amount that I can buy. And I look at all the things that I put on the list and I go, now, what do you really want to buy? You know, I don't buy it immediately because that's just impulse shopping. I just put it on the list and then I've only got this much money. What's going to fall off the list? Bernice, I actually, I know you're not going to like this, Bernice. I use this every day, just like this. I don't wash it with soap and water first. No, it's ozone clean. But about once a month, I actually throw it into my washing machine with bleach, just in case. So, you know, I would not be, you know, if I went to if I go to IKEA, you know, it's very difficult for me. I can never go to IKEA on my own. Now, what I'm doing is I'm actually, you know, I'm trying to find out the germ level that is left. And what I'm doing is I'm waiting for my microscope to arrive because I want to see, you know, does it really kill 99.9% of the germs, which I believe it does. By the way, I use this little one as well. When I come back from being out with my mask and my gloves, I throw my mask, my gloves, and my ozone cleaner into a plastic bag and seal it for half an hour. Hi, Trina. Good to see you. Yeah. So, you know, I want to tell you that I think the ozone cleaner is one of the best things for me. I find it very useful. You know, I'm forever finding things and I'm going, I'm not sure about that. And I just go, well, I'll put it into the ozone and clean it up. All right, so Sakura is saying, well, I don't clean hubby's anymore, and nor should you. It's his, for him to clean. I would buy him an ozone cleaner. Yep. I actually, it's different in Canada. My supplier, where I bought my CPAP machine, they will give it a thorough cleaning every 6 months. I take it in. And it's really quite funny because you know what they do. They put it on an ozone machine. And I'm going, yeah, I do that every day. But they change the filter and everything. But, you know, for those of you in the States, you've got it on a different plan, I know. Mine, I have, it's not covered under my Canadian policy. So interesting stuff, huh? All right, so then now we've got through people's procrastination. Let's get to, how about, did anybody find a scam of the week that we should know about? I don't think I saw a scam this week, but if anybody saw one, let us know. Yeah. So, all right, Bernice is asking me about this. Does it clean the inside? Well, what it does, you can smell the ozone. It actually pushes the air through the hose. Which I like, and I can prove that to you because it's amazing. I don't know if I can because ozone doesn't blow like normal stuff, but you can. Anyways, but the thing is that it has a smell, yes. There's a particular smell to ozone. Somebody will tell me why. I'm not sure why. But I just put everything in there and close it up. Now, what I will do is when I get my microscope, I will do tests for you. You know, I'm looking forward to that. You know, yes, Jody also says she washes hers with bleach once a month as well, and ozone every other day. Yeah. So you see, all right, Benny's found a scam, the scam on Facebook. Don't add friends that have more than 2 accounts. Ask your friend in person or email to prove that it is them because there are people duplicating accounts. Well, how would we know if our friends have more than 2 accounts? How would you know that? Is my question. But good to know. Be careful of adding people on Facebook. All right, thank you. Okay, let me read this again. And to prove that it is them, because there are people duplicating the account, and start adding people. Ask for their personal information. Well, that's difficult. Like what year did they start? I probably couldn't answer that correctly. My friends had their accounts duplicated, but the year joined was this year. Okay, that's interesting. All right, that's an easy thing to check. You know, have you been on Facebook for more than 10 years? Yes. Okay. That's the second one. What I do, Bernice, what I do is if I want to send anybody, you know, if I've got permission to share somebody's account on Facebook, like Messenger or whatever, I will take a screenshot of what that looks like. You know, so a screenshot of the icon and the name. But what you're saying is check for the year. That's an interesting thing to check. Good. All right. Anybody got a money saving tip for the week that we should know about? Don't waste your fruit. You know, I find that's what I'm looking at. By the way, you will remember that when I first moved here, one of my concerns was that I only had a very small garbage bin and they only collected garbage every other week. The garbage part, you know, they collect kitchen scraps and things every week. And of course, I've got a composter now, so I don't use that either. But I am now down to only taking my garbage out once a month. Now, that also tells you that I've stopped unpacking to a larger degree. But isn't that amazing? Money-saving tip from Trina. Stay away from the shops. Yeah, that actually is so true. By the way, are we all recycling the stored stuff that we bought for the pandemic? I really recommend that now that you know, hopefully you've now got your cupboard stocked up. Now we need to keep cycling it through. And I was quite surprised the things that I have used that I normally wouldn't. You know, I knew I had some tins of baby shrimp, for example, and I added them to a salad and thought, well, that's really tasty. I should do that again. Yes. All right. So Bernice is saying, wow, that is so amazing. I create so much garbage from tidying and finding more trash. Exactly. And that's the whole thing, which is what my recommendation is, as you know, is take your stuff and put it in boxes. Then it's tidy. Then work your way through the boxes. All right, so interesting. Sakura's trick to saving money. Hubby and I stopped grocery shopping for a lot of things except fresh fruit and lunch meats and bread for him and yogurt. I want to tell you that I have found, this is interesting to me, I have found eating a regular menu saves a lot of money. I know that sounds strange, but I now know that when I get up in the morning, I am allowed to have a piece of bread. But I'm only allowed to have bread if I bake it. Think about that. All right? I only am allowed to eat bread if I bake it. I'm not allowed to buy it anymore. Then, and I have that with peanut butter. Then I have found that drinking milk over ice is very filling. So if I get hungry, I'm inclined to go for a cup of milk over a full glass of ice. And what I was amazed about was that how filling that becomes. And I do that twice a day. I have that treat. And then for lunch, I have a salad, and over the top, I put either some leftover meat from, in other words, I will cook a turkey breast and then cut it all up and freeze it as in thick slices. So I can either have a slice of turkey, thick slice of turkey as a meal, or I can have a slice of turkey chopped up over a salad. You know what I mean? So I have portions of turkey. But buying the whole turkey breast is much cheaper than buying deli meat. And so I do that, or I will cook a pork tenderloin and cut it up into individual portions. So the same thing. So I find that really helps. And the Spam I use, if you don't like Spam, give it to somebody else. But I want to tell you, if you had a shortage of meat, you would learn to enjoy Spam. And I grew up on Spam because I grew up post-war years. And so I actually enjoy it. So that's good. And by the way, Benji and Judy cook Spam for the girls all the time. I was amazed when I went down there and saw her, and she fries it. Yeah, tastes really good fried. Get your husband to try frying it and eating it. And, what I do, I don't know about anybody else, but what I do is I open up the can, pull it all out, and then slice it into 6 pieces. And then I freeze, 5 of them. And then I will eat the one, and then every now and then I'll bring out another one. It lasts a long time. So then, I find that I'm really not eating more than one serious meal a day. I have my salad as a lunch, but it's got, a big mixed salad, and then that's great. And then I just have, quite honestly, for dinner, yesterday I took some beef and pork, minced beef and pork, and made meatballs. I had 4 meatballs for supper with some mayo. Tasted so good. So I'm learning to just eat differently. I'm eating lots of little things now rather than big meals. And I find that helps. So and I'm now ordering lists from the grocery store now that I've stocked up. I've got rather a lot of rice, so I'm going to actually start cooking rice once a week. But boy, rice goes a long way, doesn't it? So I've got to really get creative on how I'm going to do that. What I've thought about was maybe some leftover vegetables with making them into spring rolls with rice in them. It's those sort of things. So anybody, rice pudding, of course. By the way, the one thing I haven't done yet is, by the way, the spam thing, I found they make spam with bacon. I mean, anyway. So the rice thing, the fruit roll-ups, I got a feeling that when you make the leathers, that the sugar content probably is pretty high. That's my feeling, because they taste so good. And if it tastes that good, it means that it probably isn't that good for me, right? And so I just would ask anybody who, like myself, is pre-diabetic, or anybody that's diabetic, just be aware of that, that when you actually dehydrate them, the concentration of sugar is higher. All right, so Bernice is saying, I did that. I cooked Japanese curry and 4 uncooked rice. We've been eating it for 2 weeks now, and maybe stretch it to 3. Yes. So I've got to find ways of using up the rice without pushing and that means I've just got to eat it every week, right? Once a week, I'm going to have a rice type meal. Now, and it's just like, that's like 1/4 cup. I've got enough rice to last me a long time. Oh, what did I do here? Sorry, I just nuked what I needed here. Let me just get to the countdown while Jodi's around. So I would, encourage us to keep looking at these things that we can do, because it's amazing, the little things. All right, we got 9 months until Easter, people. We've got 7 months until Lent, well, just about 8. Valentine's Day is 7 months and 22 days away. Christmas is 181 days away. Yeah, it's coming up fast. We've only got 5 months and 8 days to get our overseas cards in the mail, and we're all going to be late. By the way, when are you going to start making your Christmas presents? Oh, Trina's saying, I loved egg fried rice. Yes, so do I. And that's another good way to use up vegetables, and egg is protein. It's a good meal. I want to know, how do you make that crispy rice? You know what I mean? Yeah, anyway. US Thanksgiving is 5 months away. The clocks go back in 128 days. Or forward if you're in Southern Hemisphere. Canadian Thanksgiving, oh, hang on. What have we got? We've got American Thanksgiving is 5 months away now. Wow, that's not very far away, is it? Canadian is 3 months. The US taxes, I haven't double checked, but Jody, can we just do a check on when the US taxes are actually due? I noticed that Canadians have extended those. Yeah. Hang on a second. I've got that. I just want to show people how to talk about. This is just a box that I got from the dollar store, right? And then, but what I do is when I send it, it will have a background of sparkly white paper in it. Sort of Christmas type feel to it. So I love, it's like a gift you can bring out every year. So All right, so Jamie's saying she finished her taxes way before the pandemic. They're good for you. Hey, that was another good thing. Another good thing. You know, Yvonne has always done my taxes for me for the last 20 years. And she did give me warning about a year ago that that she was going to hand them back to me now for me to do them. And then I was talking for her this week. And she said, you know, now that Papa has gone, she's rethinking that. And she's saying, would you like me to continue? I'm going, yes. Yeah, she did. It's really quite funny. Anyway, all right, so now, Jody, can you give me a reminder to put in the shortest day of the year, because now we're heading towards that. And we're already in summer. Oh, the thing about the taxes is, Jody, that I noticed that the Canadian ones are extended even more. And so that is really important. So I have now lived in my house 5 months and 16 days. And what I'm aware of is that summer is fast, on us. And I'm looking at my vegetable garden and going, well, what have I really achieved here? And I didn't do very well growing things from seed, I don't think. Not as well, because the bugs got most of it. So I've learned that this year, that I will next year probably buy the vegetables already this big. Let somebody else go through the heck of that. I've also found out that I found a new thing that I wanted to show you. It's about making vegetables last longer. I found that, one of the things about growing, extending the life of your lettuce, this is a butter lettuce that comes already living, is if you put it in a green jar, this is a green mason jar. Actually, it's called a Bernard jar, but never mind, it's like a mason jar. Then the water won't get yucky as quickly. Even so, I will take it out and replace the water underneath, but you can see that the roots are loving it in there. Okay? And I will what I'm doing is I'm turning a lettuce that probably will feed me for 1 week and turning it into a lettuce, as you can see. This is actually, hang on a second. These two here are actually romaine lettuces that I've grown from just the cut-offs of the bottom. But you can see that what I do is when I make my salad, I have some butter lettuce and I top it up with bits from my romaine lettuces. And I've literally cut down the amount I spend on salads dramatically. So again, keep looking at ways to do this. I'm trying to think. So I've learned, another thing that I've learned, just while I think about it. Butter lettuces actually come in a container like this. And what I found out is they are the perfect greenhouses. These are two more cut-offs from my of romaine lettuce, and here they are growing beautifully. Isn't that pretty? And all I did is poke a couple of holes in the top to give it ventilation, and that's it. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the carrot tops doing in there? I leave the carrot tops in there to see if they are going to grow. And what will happen is that if in about a week they start to get greenery coming up, then I know that it's alive, okay? And if it's alive, I put it in the garden. I have no idea what it's going to do, that's where it's going. And I've got quite a few of them, and I'm trying to make sure that, you know, I won't pull them up until about 3 months' time, how long it normally takes. But anyway, perfect for those of you who live in an apartment or something. A butter lettuce container is a great way to grow your romaine. Obviously, once it gets to be this big, I'm going to take it out and put it, you know, in a hydroponic system like this. And again, just a reminder, this is literally in water. Now you're wondering, what is that? I just cut 2 holes at the bottom and I put a paper towel or some paper or string, whatever you like. String actually is the best, and it turns into a self-watering system. And as some of you know, I'm busy here growing celery from a cutoff. And I just got that in one of these, an almond milk container that I cut in half, turn upside down, and it's working very nicely. So, quite pleased with that. So what have I found? Save money where you can, because then you can buy more stuff on Wish. That's how I look at it. You know, it's like, if I can save $60 buying these on Wish, I've got $60 I can spend elsewhere and get more bang for my buck. Does that make sense? If I can save this much in treats that I would normally buy, if I can make them from, at the end of each week, from my leftover fruit and maybe my leftover cooked vegetables, that I can just mush it up with the fruit. You know, it's like, duh, why not? I'll make treats that will be healthier. So I'm going to be starting that. Now, the other thing I want to try is making, how many of you like those vegetable chips? I don't think I've got any. Now, they go very quickly in my house. But I'm pretty sure that they are made from mashed potato and vegetable mixed up and then dropped into very hot oil. But I could be wrong. I'm going to be one of those experiments I do. All right, everybody. So I hope that you enjoyed learning how to make fruit roll-ups. Jody, could you remind me to edit out the controversial? No, I think I just went, no, what I'm going to do, the problem I have with YouTube is I talk some controversial stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the whole video up and leave it as it is. But then I'm going to cut out just the fruit roll-up section of it and put that up separately. And then I will monetize that. That's a good answer to that. Makes sense? I will duplicate that section. Okay. So it's very difficult with YouTube because I am on a list of people that, you know, that I'm very honest about what I have in my videos, and that they don't need to check every one of mine. But the way I get to keep that is to keep being that honest. So I know that they're not going to like necessarily the pandemic stuff or the, but I don't see why, because that really is educational. What do you think? And the Bubba Wallace stuff, that is not negative either. It was educational. The Kung Fu flu, I think I will cut out. That's what I need to cut out because I don't understand that. And I'm not sure if that will be seen to be whatever. I am allowed to discuss the pandemic now. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to cut out that section with the Kung Fu thing, which is pretty close to the beginning, right? There was no propaganda. It was just my truth. Yes. And that's what that's what I aim to do. I look at it and go, I really do want to make sure you guys are prepared. You know, and I know that some of you don't have the time or the interest to study it in depth. By the way, every week when I talk to Marnie, I also discuss these things with her to see if she has a different slant on them or whatever. And, you know, it's really interesting because to me, I want to make sure I've got balance on both sides, and that so I can help you have more balance on both sides. And I hope you find that helpful. And if you don't, let me know, because I want to keep looking at these Black Lives Matter issues. I want to keep looking at the pandemic. I mean, I am pretty sure that, you know, what are we now, 120,000 deaths in the US? I think you're going to be up, quite honestly, I think you're going to end up at well over 500,000, maybe towards 1. That's what I believe. Ah, Beth, we made fruit roll-ups, Beth. It was such fun. So Jody's saying, I appreciate that we discuss real life issues. Well, the reason that I decided that, you know, to actually bring these in only is because I think a lot of us get scared. And when we're scared, it's because we don't have enough knowledge, all right? And so if I don't believe in being unprepared at all. Jen, I think they will, quite honestly. If the young people can continue to do what they're doing. The thing is this, okay, do you want me to show you why I think it's going to happen? Just my view. I might not be right. Okay, seriously, what did I do with the cleaners? We know I've got them. There they are. Jan, do you want me to show you why? Okay. Okay, just clean my board up. I think we're all pretty sure that that there has been testing going on, all right? So we all know that. And that from those testings, we have found this number of people have tested positive. And then of that, this number of people here have died. All right, we know that. So what I think you all know, if you've been following the news, is that there hasn't really proportionately been a lot of testing, quite honestly. And so when they start increasing, the reason that the comment was made, slow down the testing, right? That wasn't so much of a joke, because if you speed up the testing, you are now going to test this many people, which means that this many people are going to have the virus, which means this many people will have died from it. You see, if you're not testing, what I heard said, and I fear for this, is that they're now not going to just say it was COVID. They're just going to say, did this person die of flu? You understand? The idea is to take it away. So do you understand that the more that you test, the more cases you're going to find, the more cases you find, the more deaths have to be attributed to the virus. Does that make sense? All right, so interesting. Beth is saying both she and Charles, her husband, have the antibodies. Had it in January and gave it to Charles. Had to get tested because of procedure. Yes, so that is the other thing. A good point, Beth, which is when they start opening up the testing, they're going to find that that this many more people actually have had it. They probably weren't sick enough to realize that they had it, but they've got it. And like Beth, have the antibodies. Yes, I agree, Jan. That's what I heard as well. A good point, which is that they're saying that people who die from pneumonia, they're now going to say they died from pneumonia, not the virus, even though the virus caused the pneumonia. So you understand there's going to be a lot of spin, is the word, on the figures now. Why? Because the figures are going to be horrific. So they will do everything they can not to contribute the deaths to the virus. They will contribute it to pneumonia. The fact that the pneumonia was caused by the virus will be irrelevant to them. And so just be prepared for that to happen. Don't get angry about it. It's going to happen. And the reason it's got to happen is because the numbers are going to be horrific. And they're going to do everything they can to minimize those numbers. But even then, they are going to be horrific. So my question is, do any of you have young people in your lives that are frustrated and are going back to being normal? Because you need to have a serious talk to them. The serious talk you need to have to them is, you are not wearing a mask to protect you. You are wearing a mask to protect Sal. You are wearing a mask to protect Jody, right? And by the way, I heard today when I was listening to the task force briefing this morning, I heard today that they have, not only am I found out I'm more at risk now than I was, and so is Jody, that not only I am old, that puts me at risk. I have a history of lung diseases, puts me at risk. I am pre-diabetic, puts me at risk. And I've now found out that from the research, from the cases they've had, being obese is another contributing factor. I am obese. So I now have a lot. So I need people to understand you're not wearing a mask to protect you. You're wearing a mask to stop your germs getting to somebody else. That's where the message is wrong. People don't understand that. Trina's saying the majority of the cases in Ireland died in a nursing home. Yes, and unfortunately that will always be true because they're even more vulnerable. And so, but what I'm trying to get people to understand is this mask thing is not about you being safe. It is about you not passing, for example, if Beth doesn't know that let's say she didn't know that she was carrying the virus at the time, all right? If she didn't know that, she could not be showing the symptoms but have the virus and passing it on. So the reason we all need to wear masks is to protect everybody. And if more of us continue to wear the masks, not everybody will, they're going to be stupid people. And you need to be prepared for that. But if more of us wear the masks, we will be able to keep this under some sort of control. But I'm afraid to say that there are a huge amount of people who are just going to say, up theirs, and not do it. And they're going to go back to the pub, and they're going to go back to the clubs, and they're going to go back to not social distancing, and they won't be bothered to wear masks. And then the numbers will just continue to go like this. And everybody will say, well, I'll wait for the vaccine. What if it doesn't come? That's the question. What if, and by the way, the first vaccine they come out with doesn't mean it's going to work. It means that's the money they put the money behind. All right? That's, you know that they've already put millions of dollars behind one particular vaccine in the hope that it will work. What if it doesn't? All right? And so the thing is this, that they can come up with a vaccine and they can make an awful lot of money with us all buying the vaccine, and it doesn't work. We think it does, but it doesn't. So it'll end up being a placebo for some cases. I'm not saying that it won't. I'm saying just be careful. All right? Just be careful. So like Beth, all right? Beth said she was sick for 8 days. She couldn't get up. That's how sick she was. She had the virus. You are the first one that I know of, Beth, in our immediate circle. But I'm not surprised you got it with the amount of, interaction you have with people. And sad, how many people did you pass it on to before you realized you had it? That's the scary thing, right? So And that's what will happen. You know, it's like, it will happen. I heard yesterday about a set of triplets that were born with the virus. Born with the virus. Scary. All right, so I'm going to get out of here, and be prepared for the numbers to escalate, because the more testing they do, the more numbers we will have. And that actually is safer for us. It'll be scary as all get up, but it will be safer, because then they will have much more information, and they will be able to track the people who are passing it on and isolate them if necessary. We hope. And I hope that enough people are intelligent. I'm noticing in my little community here, people are starting to go back to life as normal. And that scares me, because they're people I want to interact with. But if they're going back to life as normal, maybe I can't. Because, you know, they're going, oh, it's, you know, it's not that serious in Canada. And I'm going, yeah. I heard another horrifying story, which is that there are, I mean, I could be wrong on this one, but I heard this from a reliable source in my sphere of friends, which is there are Americans coming into Canada because it's safer here. But what they're saying is they're on their way to Alaska, which allows them to come through the border. That's scary, isn't it? Anyway, think about that. Anyways, this is DearMamaSal saying, I hope you enjoyed the fruit roll-ups. I did. And now my trick is to try not to eat them all in one sitting and push my blood sugar way through the roof. And we will see you tonight. Yes, Sam is saying that people are acting here like it never happened. Yeah, and that's what's going to happen for the next few months, and then it'll crash and burn by September. We know that. We'll all be in lockdown again pretty soon. Expect it to happen. Keep the storeroom full, people. Because we're going to have a lot more, and if we have a lot more, that means prices are going to spike even more. Whatever you can buy now is going to be cheap, all right? We'll see you tonight for Smile Time. This is DearMamaSal saying thanks for sharing this with me. We'll see you later tonight. Bye-bye for now.